I'm your host Vanessa, and this is Hot Dystopia. My two guests today are Valentine from Germany.
Hello.
And Vladimir from the Philippines.
Hi.
So, Vladimir, what can you tell me about Dystopia?
Dystopia, it comes from the words dis, that means bad, and topia, that means place, so it's a bad place. It's a futuristic universe, mostly in fiction, where society is ruled by corporate, bureaucratic, technological, moral or totalitarian control, most often by the government.
So interesting.
Yeah.
I've oftentimes heard this utopia, dystopia, but I never know where it comes from.
Yeah, and utopia is like the opposite, where everything is fantastic.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Good movies to compare these two together, or Wall-E.
Yeah.
That's a dystopian universe, futuristic, everything is bad.
Wow.
I think like making utopias is not good for the market.
No, nobody wants to see a movie.
No.
That's great.
Like a movie where everything is always great is not. But a good example of utopia is what people dream of, the communists did in the late 1900s. Yeah.
1984.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're going to talk about the film V for Vendetta. Are there symbols of dystopia in the film?
Oh yeah, definitely. I would say we find many symbols of dystopia. The most obvious one is, of course, just the government. And like you said before, many times the government is one of the signs of dystopia in a movie, and the thing that maybe is
the main factor
of the dystopia.
Yeah, the first thing we see about it that hints it's a dystopia is the curfew that they had in the beginning of the movie. They can't go outside after 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And that's just rules from the government, and they have police officers walking around and checking if you have the credentials to be outside after 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So you see right from the start that the society is ruled over by a hard hand by the government.
Yes.
And what did you think about the film in general?
Well, I thought it was amazing. Probably one of the best movies I've seen in a very, very long time. Mainly because of the script. I thought the script was amazing.
Yeah, the dialogue is very good.
Yes, super good. And the characterization and the whole plot in general. So I definitely loved the movie, and definitely something I'm gonna watch again very soon.
Yeah, and it was just not the movie, the script in itself, like where they shot the movie and everything was just perfect.
Course,
they got the perfect sets and everything.
Yeah. Although sometimes I thought it was a bit too complicated. I had at a certain point in the film I had trouble moving along with it. But I feel like that was intentional, because in the next scene they always explain what happened before, and then you get this enlightenment of information.
Okay, so this is Hot Topic, so it's now time for some hot wings.
Hot things,
The mustard sauce we have is this one, so you're gonna try this one first.
Okay.
So we just dive right in?
Yeah, dive right in.
We were talking about me and Vladimir before the shoot that neither of us is a great fan of hot sauce.
No.
That's why this is fun.
Yeah.
Dive in, yes.
Oh, I don't like this.
No, neither.
Okay.
So how is it? Is it very spicy?
Very hot.
Okay.
We should take another one, just for the sake
of
of
fun.
the video.
For entertainment.
My mouth is on fire.
Mine goes, oh! And this is the mild one?
Yes.
Ah!
We have fire coming up.
I'm not looking forward for that. So yeah, we definitely like the movie, at least.
And how would you say that V is different from Heroes or other films?
V is like the protagonist of the movie, but he's still a terrorist. He explodes buildings and kills people, but we're still rooting for him the whole time, even though he's doing bad things. And in most movies we see the hero doing good things, helping other people, but in this movie he's like killing people and everything, but he's still helping society in general.
And I thought it was interesting that like even though we never see his face through the whole movie, and we actually never, like it's not until like half of the movie that we actually see his background, where he comes from, why he is mean, but we are still rooting for him the whole time. And I think that is a lot because of the opening scene, where we see V come and rescue Evie from the guys from the government. What the Yeah, when he rescued Evie from the guys from the government.
Yeah, Fingerman.
Yeah, the Fingerman. And he said this long speech where everything starts with V.
Voila! In view, a humble vaudevillian veteran, cast vicariously as both victim and villain by the vicissitudes of fate. This visage, no mere veneer of vanity, is a vestige of the vox populi, now vacant, vanished. However, this valorous visitation of a bygone vexation stands vivified, and has vowed to vanquish these venal and virulent vermin, vanguarding vice and vouchsafing the violently vicious and voracious violation of volition.
And he answered Evie's questions in this genius way, and it immediately gave us the idea that he was smart and clever, and also that he was fascinated by words. And I think that says a lot about someone. It shows that he's a human being when he has a hobby. And like we had the hobby of words, and later in the movie we see he also collects art, which is illegal in this state.
And I think the main reason why we're rooting for him from the beginning, because we don't like the idea of a dystopia.
Of course not.
We don't want to live in a society, a dystopian society. We always dream of a utopia. So when he's fighting against the dystopian universe, we root for him, and that he's destroying the government is something that we want.
The government is like always the bad guy through the movie. They are trying to kill V, which is our protagonist. So we always see the bad guy. And also I noticed that all people of the government in the movie were males. All the government officials were males. Doesn't matter if they're fingermen or if it's the prime minister. Everybody's male, and they kind of look the same. And I thought to myself, like, is this the guy that was before, or is it another one? Because they were all with this middle-aged male look.
From the beginning, I had a hard time figuring out who was what in the government. Who controlled the fingerman, who was the prime minister,
of course,
and who was over the media and everything.
Yeah, it's the same with me. And I think that is to like show us that they are the bad guys. We have this image of a bad guy, and he is a male. He is dominant, middle-aged, and he's dominant in body. His body is dominant. White, and with the dark hair and darkness also over him.
Yeah, and talks like with a deep voice. That's really frightening.
Yeah.
And
So I think there's a lot of symbolism in that also. Yeah.
Okay, but what do you guys think about Evie? And what does she do for the film?
I feel like Evie was very important to show us, because most of us don't relate to V. Even though we want to relate to V, he's the brave one, he's the hero. We don't relate to him, but Evie was there to like show us the average citizens.
His human side, for us to connect to him. To show that he's not a killer robot or anything. He does feel love and everything. He's a human before everything. And
we also feel like Evie, she kind of had this, she kind of had accepted this government and this world that, you know, the curfew at 9 o'clock. But then V came with hope to her that there was better times coming.
And we saw from the beginning that she was not a fan of the dystopia. I'm going to say bad right now. We saw from the beginning she's not a fan of the dystopian universe because when she breaks the curfew, the fingermen, the police, it's hot. They attack her and try to manipulate her sexually right from the beginning. So we see that she has a cause in destroying the dystopian universe also.
Do you know what the movie is based on?
I don't know for sure.
Yeah, it was a comic, right?
Oh yeah, sure,
From
yeah.
Same writer as Anchorman. No, Watchmen.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It's the mask is Guy Fawkes, who 400 years ago, when this is happening, tried to do the same thing. He tried to explode the government and everything. The masks are from him. We see the hacker group Anonymous use these masks now. We relate more to that than the movie, but Anonymous got their identity by watching V for Vendetta. Anonymous is fighting against the government and everything that they think is against society, and so they are fighting for the same thing in
Very
different
similar
ways.
to me.
Yeah.
The writers of the film also directed the famous movie called The Matrix. Are there any similarities between the films?
Yes, definitely. We see like the director of the film is clearly astonished by Dystopia's Matrix and V for Vendetta are both dystopias. They both have this government that we're not used to, even though we are more used to the one from V for Vendetta, like in the communist state, Soviet Union. We are not used to the Matrix one where computers control everything. Maybe one day we will, I'm not gonna say for sure. But it definitely, this is a dystopia where the government is run by a small fraction of the people, of the computers, and also we have one protagonist that is fighting against this. And I think Neo, wasn't that his name?
Yeah.
Matrix, yeah. Neo from Matrix and V from Vendetta. Yeah, they're like very similar protagonists. They both fight against the system.
Yeah. And I think the director is amazing at creating this dystopian universes. He's like, it's clearly one of his hobbies, and he tries to find the best ones and put it into a movie.
Yeah, definitely.
And the special effects are similar in the fight scenes also. On that note, it's time for another hot sauce. This is a little bit stronger than the other one.
So this
Deep
is
breath.
super hot.
Oh, it's so much. Oh, I feel it right away.
So how do you like it?
This is so hot.
You can see from my facial expressions. I like it so much. I'm gonna cry.
I did not expect so hot. But yeah, we were talking about references in the movie, like to the Matrix. I also feel like there's so strong similarities to. Oh my god, I can't talk.
My tongue is burning.
To the story 1984 by George Orwell. We see. For those that know that song. No, that story, it has the government is called Big Brother. And I feel like in this story, V for Vendetta, it could also be like the Big Brother that always like follows you around and knows what you're doing. Oh my god, this is burning my mouth. This is burning my mouth.
Are you guys okay?
Not at all. This is a terrible show.
Thank you.
But yeah, and I feel like it has strong similarities to George Orwell and 1984. And they clearly got a lot of inspiration from them. Also, I feel like there's a lot of criticism in the movie. Do you agree, Vladimir?
Yeah, very much. Many similarities in the book and the movie.
Yeah, and it's criticizing corrupt governments. Oh my god, I actually can't speak.
And both show like that society should be above all. And everyone should be not forced to do something.
Also, the corruption in the government in the movie kind of represents the corruption in the government we see today. And I felt like there's one line in the movie that's very current to today's society with Trump and fake news and all that. And it's when one of the reporters in the movie says, do you think they trust us? And another reporter says, quote, our job is to report the news, not fabricate it. That's the government's job.
Our job is to report the news, not fabricate it. That's the government's job.
And this got me thinking a lot about Donald Trump and his fake news scandal, and like the whole discussion about fake news in our society today, who to trust, like when you watch Fox News and CNN.
Yeah, where the government is changing the news to make them look better, fabricating them, or the news station that just tell them like they are.
We see a clear symbol in V for Vendetta when he escaped from them from the broadcasting house, and they broadcast out news that they killed him, even though he escaped, just to make people trust them.
Also, when he killed the Voice of London, that's what they call it, the most famous reporter, they say he died of a stroke or heart failure or something, just in his home, but really the V came and killed him. So they're reporting something that isn't true just to make them look better.
No, I'm dying in my mouth, you don't understand.
This is it for the show today. I want to thank my guests Valentine and Vladimir for traveling all the way here today and being on the top show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for the chicken and also, oh my god.
Thank you for being such good sports and eating all the sauce.
Yes.
And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, thank you.